AI won't transform your business if your culture runs on fear. Are you a business leader? If so, here's a question for you. Do you actually have a culture of experimentation around AI? Not a policy, not a committee, not a handful of just early adopters, but actually a real, safe, intelligent, experimental culture. Because this is where I think many organizations are about to get stuck. Some will try and reduce risk by locking everything down. No experimentation, no curiosity, no playing with AI. And so that's going to mean no movement. Others are going to throw open the gates and tell everyone, go on and experiment without any thought of governance, ethics, privacy, or customer risk. Both of these approaches are going to miss the point completely because experimentation without governance is going to create chaos, but governance without experimentation is going to create stagnation. And everyone's playing with it in their own lives anyway. But organizations really need to think about how are we going to thrive over the next decade? And that's going to be the organizations that can hold the tension of both of those together. They're going to have curiosity and care, innovation with responsibility, speed and wisdom jointly together. And when you think about it, none of that's really even an AI problem. It's just the flavor of the moment. It really is a leadership and culture problem. And because AI is moving so rapidly and so quickly, leaders are just struggling to have all the answers. And the old approach of needing to know everything if you're the leader or manager is just not going to work anymore. And if leaders try and control from fear, they're going to create more problems and more fear. And they're going to create people bucking against the rules. If they try and force adoption and tell everyone they've got to do it, same thing. You're going to get resistance from people who don't trust AI and don't want to play with AI. And so this is where our leadership spectrum at Beside Leaders is really useful. At the lower end of the spectrum, we see leaders operating from that force. And it says, I must control this. We must not get this wrong. Why aren't people following the policy or using this properly? It's extremely risk averse when you're at the end of force. But force doesn't really create trust in a culture. Force just creates compliance. And if you just want a culture of purely compliance, then go for it. But really, that's never going to be enough. You're going to need people who are questioning things, testing things, challenging things, trying stuff out, being discerning, speaking up, naming the risk, but also looking at how can we move through that risk? How can we navigate that safely for our organization and our industry or whatever climate that you're operating in? And so that's not going to happen in a culture of fear. It's only going to happen if you're in the higher level culture of trust. And creating a culture of trust doesn't mean that everyone just gets to do whatever they like. That's not trust. It doesn't mean carte blanche, just run at it. That's avoidance as well. So a trusting culture is going to mean people know the boundaries and they feel safe enough to work intelligently within whatever those parameters are that the leaders have set for them. And so they're going to know what's okay to test, what's okay to touch, what shouldn't I touch, when does my human judgment have to come in and play. And so do you feel like your staff know that? Are they learning? Are they growing rather than being careless, but being considered in how they're using AI? Because the kind of culture that AI actually needs is not completely loose, and it's also not fearful. It's clear. And clear really takes some courage and some effort. Simplicity sometimes is the thing that takes the most work. And this is a culture where leaders are calm enough and clear enough to say, yeah, we don't have all the answers yet, but let's lean in and learn together in a responsible way. And that's at the top of the leadership spectrum. That's flow. And flow is not passive, it's not soft, it's not weak, and it's not sitting around gazing at your neighbor waiting for the universe to sort out your AI strategy. Flow comes from a really grounded place where a leader is not panicking, They have the ability to think clearly when the conditions are good. And they're also really open to hearing from their staff whilst managing the risk. And this is what really is needed for many executive teams and leadership teams around the world right now in most industries, is a maturity around how we're going to lean into this. Because the competitive advantage was never going to be the actual tool. A competitive advantage is not using AI. It was never having Windows and a computer on your desk. Because let's face it, everyone has access to the tools these days. The real advantage is going to be the leadership around using those tools. Can your people learn how to use them quickly? Can they tell the truth when something doesn't work? Can they admit what they don't know so that we know how we need to upskill people? And rather than just blindly putting out stuff that comes out of Claude and ChatGPT and all of the other tools that people are playing with, can they spot bias? Can they spot nonsense? Do they start to get overconfident with pumping out work, only to realize that no one really wants to digest that work because it's just coming across as dribble? So can we start to make decisions that encourage care and consideration? We need to really put the humans back in, and then let AI just amplify it, right? Let your culture avoid accountability. And if you do, AI is going to amplify that. But if your people are scared to speak up, AI is going to amplify that as well. So if your managers are already stretched and unclear, AI is potentially going to amplify that also. So it's not the technical fix to everything. It's not going to reveal how you're going to build your business moving forward. Sure, it's going to speed things up. It may automate some things. It may smooth out some processes and procedures that you had before. But you really need to be considering what AI tools should we use? And not just that, but actually what fits our culture? And how is this tool going to fit with the people and how we operate around here? So that's the work. Not just prompting, not just governance, not just choosing the right tool that we're going to allow staff to use. It's going to be building a culture where people can safely adapt along with technology, moving together, where experimentation is actually encouraged because the boundaries are clear. And so people know what's the playing field that I've got to play inside, where leaders themselves are modeling curiosity and are utilizing the tools and really thinking, how can this inform our thinking and support us in an efficient and effective way? When the organization learns, can we learn faster to keep up with the pace of change by using some of the technical things that are available? The future of work is not going to be there for the organization that wins because it's got the biggest, thickest thud factor AI policy. And nor is it going to be the organization that gets the trophy for the wildest experimentation. It's going to be intelligent learning cultures, ones like I bet you want to create, the ones where people aren't paralyzed by fear, but they're also not seduced by the tools themselves. The ones where leaders have created enough trust for people to experiment and the clarity to do that really well. It starts with the culture that you create. Like most things I always talk about, it comes back to the leaders and the culture. And so here's a final question for you to ponder if you've gotten this far in the video. And that is your organization encouraging experimentation whilst managing the risk? Or are you accidentally creating either chaos or stagnation? Food for thought.